BYU shook off maybe the worst first half we'll see them play all season to get a win over Delaware. They went down 10-0, Dion, to start the game. 10 straight points given up to Delaware. Delaware couldn't miss. Their defense looked out of sorts. They were flummoxed by the zone that the Blue Hens threw at them. And still, second half, Rob Wright, Richie Saunders, they woke up. They carried the Cougars to an 85-68 victory. Look, there's no way to other way to paint this other than like ugly for for those first 20 minutes. A little alarming, a little bit like what is this team doing? However, it's nice to see, you get your elder statesman going with Richie in the second half, who had been kind of quiet through the first two games for his standards. And of course, Rob, one of the big portal additions, put up a 26, 9, and 9 stat line. Did a little research, Dion. I'm heading up the sleeper stats and research department this season. The last time a BYU player put up that stat line was in 2015. So over a decade since it last happened. So congrats to Rob on that. So ends up being a decent margin of victory here, but still a long ways away from covering that 35-point spread. I think it's going to be tough for BYU fans to completely shake that first half out of their mind. But what were some of your takeaways in this one?
Same stuff as before. They have identity issues with the big three, I think. And obviously, you got phenomenal Saunders games. You got a phenomenal Rob Wright game. And AJ was like ho hum,
Hmm.
which I think is probably to be expected from AJ against Delaware. And now, I'm not saying it's his fault. Everybody knows I'm a huge AJ believer, huge AJ fan, but like, Darren Peterson's kind of do the same thing at Kansas. I think Bill Self and KY are treating these two dudes like, should I call them BS, actually?
BS and KY.
BS and KY?
I like it. I like going with BS.
But I feel like BS and KY are kind of treating these two dudes like they're already in the NBA. I mean, we're just getting load management games from Darren Peterson,
I
and we're
know.
just getting, and we're just getting like, yo, AJ, it's Delaware. Do whatever you want on the court performances. That just, yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't work in college basketball. It historically has not. We'll see.
Correct.
We'll see. If anyone's going to make it happen, I do think it's AJ. I do think it's KY. I do think it's DP. I do think it's BS. Like, I think those group of guys can make it work. CB and JS and Durham aren't doing it. We're going headstrong against everybody.
We're
I
really gonna
just
leave out. We're really gonna leave out CW and HD when we're talking about schools in North Carolina.
CW. Oh, Caleb Wilson and
Yeah. And
Ian.
Hubert.
Caleb Wilson and redacted. No, but I feel like it's just interesting the way it's all happening. That's all.
Hmm.
I just
Hmm.
find it all to be really interesting. I'm not sure that I agree with like the way they're going about it. And I think it'll be really interesting to see how it plays out on Saturday. Because I think when you have these, because AJ's not going to shoot five less shots than Richie and Rob Wright on Saturday. Like
Right.
I'm not saying those two aren't really good. Rob Wright, I believe, is like projected lotto this year at the moment. Um, that might be high.
That might be a little high. I think Rob Wright can play in the league. He might even be a first rounder when it's all said and done. I mean, he put up 26, 9, and 9 last night, and most of that was done in the second half. He was brilliant last night. I thought like when they really let him have the reins in the second half, he responded big time. He talked about it a little bit post game, needing to be the spark. And I would even credit him with a big role in getting Richie going in the second half. I
Yeah.
think he was finding Richie. They had that nice little baseline out of bounds for that where Saunders knocked down an open three, got free off the screen, which put them up 48-46. That was their first lead, though, of the game. It was 14 minutes to go in the second half, and BYU took the lead for the first time. But it was nice to see. It definitely seemed like Wright had a concerted effort to get Richie going. And I think Richie hit all six of his threes in the second half. Most of them were like coming off of screens or catch, relocate. Um, Really good to see him just sort of show that he still has it, because I thought he had a really rough first half. Even with not making a three, he had a really bad turnover trying to find a teammate cutting baseline. I can't remember who it was, but just like out of character stuff for him. Defense wasn't good either. I mean, but you could say that for the whole BYU team in the first half. It just felt like Delaware was getting whatever open look they wanted to, and they had dudes hitting circus shots. This kid Hauser for Delaware, Tyler Hauser. I think someone on the broadcast compared his shot to a praying mantis. It's like one of the ugliest jumpers I've ever seen, but he was knocking them down at key moments. But yeah,
Tyler, Tyler. Um, I'm speaking directly to you. We have to find the person that said your shot looks like a praying mantis. And I think you have to play him one on one, Tyler. Like you have to.
I mean, maybe.
That's might be the most disrespectful thing I've ever heard like be said on a broadcast. Like no BS. I think that's like legitimately the most disrespectful thing.
Hey, we wait, Dion, this is a new camp that we're getting into, the Tyler Hauser camp. We got
Yeah.
you.
No, I mean I'm in on T House. Um I'm in on T House. I also don't want to be anti-media, but that person needs to be found
Well,
immediately.
there was a lot of like media sort of like media things that were said that normally you don't hear on a broadcast. I think this was actually post game. I can't remember who said it. One of the guys, one of the analysts on CBS was saying that it's like Christian Bliss, his NIL stock is going to double next year. He's going to be playing somewhere else. He was like Delaware, enjoy him while you can because he's going to transfer up a level next year and make more money. But
Really?
yeah, I just feel like you don't normally hear like we say that kind of stuff, but we're not on TV. We're not
Yeah.
like, but
We also largely get told we don't know what we're talking about.
yeah, true. I don't know if
Or at least I do. At least I do. I
but
don't want to
you
speak for
but you take
what.
it in stride. I
Oh, I
get
don't.
we all get told that.
Yeah, I
Um
mean, I can care less.
but yeah, the Delaware offense, to their credit, was cooking in the first half. I thought Christian Bliss did have some really nice moments, and sometimes I was like, yeah, he probably is going to be playing at a high major next year, just the way that he's been hooping for Delaware so far. But I don't know, kind of turn it back to BYU, and even I don't want to overly harp on that first half because they did wake up. I believe I saw a stat where they outscored them maybe like 38-16 the rest of the way after taking the lead. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but sometimes I just wonder, does this team apologies for using a brain rot term, but do they aura farm too much? And is that why they might have bad halves like this or like they do against Villanova, where it's just like between Rob Wright and AJ DeBonsa, you just have two guys that are like too cool for buy games and think they can just kind of coast through it. Like, I mean, AJ, to his credit, woke up in the second half as well, but
I
yeah.
don't think it's over farming. I legitimately think they're too cool for buy games.
Mhm.
Now, I do want to preface, and BYU fans, please don't be mad at me. I'm not trying to harp on Rob Wright or Richie Saunders. They are not too cool for buy games, by the way. The number one pick, the number one recruit in the greatest freshman class maybe ever. Yeah, he is definitely too cool for Delaware, right? 100%. He is too cool to be on the court against Delaware. He was also too cool to be on the court against like Utah Valley High School last year, or whoever Utah Prep was playing that wasn't named Prolific. Um, so like, but like Rob Brightman, you're here not respectfully. Like I think he wants to be at BYU. I'm not saying he doesn't. He doesn't want to be playing college basketball though, right? Like Rob Wright, like this wasn't his intention. His intention was to be a one and done. Part of the reason you're not a one and done, I think, is some of this stuff, man. Like you can't treat yourself like a lotto pick, and I know I just called him one, but you can't treat yourself like a lotto pick before you're a lotto pick. Um,
Fair enough.
you can't treat yourself like a champion before you're a champion. I always say it like I hate when people go to like a UNC and they speak about banners that were won in the 90s and the 2000s or even what was it 2017 the most recent one?
Hmm. Yep.
Knowledge. Knowledge. But like even 2017, that was 8 years ago, man. Like you were 12.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not
You were
wrong.
11. Like you were not on that team. Somebody else was. You have to define your character beyond the university you're playing at, beyond what people think of you, beyond expectations, and you have to create culture that establishes like hard work. I'm not saying KY doesn't have that.
Hmm.
I just don't think that all these dudes are too cool for buy games.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. And this is where I would even say like the bench could become a problem. And obviously they pulled away. I wouldn't say it's time to panic by any stretch. And no Moo Davis in this one too, which I think, just having someone who can be more of that ancillary piece, that glue guy who seems to like just do the connective stuff to use like a basketball cliche that's mentioned all the time. Uh,
I love that cliche though.
being a connector, I actually do
Oh
too, Loki.
God. As a Warriors fan, and we won't get into it. Maybe this will be one of our topics on the sleepover, the live show. uh, I love connecting pieces. I love guys that don't do like crazy stuff, but it's
Hmm.
like he was in the right spot. He made
Yeah.
the right pass. He took a charge. He made the wide open three. Because the flip side, Jonathan Kuminga. We haven't connected anything
Hmm.
in years. I'm waiting for you to connect dots on anything. And I don't think Rob Wright is connecting a ton of stuff at the well. He's been phenomenal. I don't think he's not a connector. It's
I mean, he's a borderline alpha. You know, you said it on the
yes,
preview. He was the guy with the ball in his hands, even though he had VJ Edgecombe on his team. And I think in this one, like you saw when you give him the keys, he can get you 9 assists. Like that second half, he
absolutely.
was getting into the paint at will, collapsing the defense, finding teammates, and he was awesome. But I think when this team would benefit from a Moo Davis type who's just there to finish possessions and to play defense and to make smart plays instead of having to lean on Dawson Baker, who went 1 for 5. And granted, his one made three was big, but after him, you have Tyler Marouse going 0 for 4. Dom Diamande, like, was missing dunks. Dom Diamande
Yeah,
ruined Rob Wright's double double by missing a dunk. That would have been Wright's second assist, like
yeah.
that's if I had to say any concerns, it's like, well, we're with some guys who seem too cool for buy games, and then just not having a reliable bench that you can get a spark from. That's what feels so different than last year for this BYU team. I mean, I guess Boscovich every once in a while he can I don't know, can attack a closeout, which is like pretty impressive for his size, might give you a made three, can get you some putbacks, but I mean they had
I'm
four.
still a big Boscovich guy. I
I,
want to
I
be
like
on record.
Boscovich too, but
Just want to be on record. I'm a big Boscovich guy.
but he provided their only 4 bench points last night. It's weird seeing KY go 10 or 11 deep on his bench late into last season and just having multiple weapons that could come and give you 15 minutes a night and give you a spark to they're just getting nothing right now. And even like Boop missed both of his shots. Boop only had 2 boards. Like I mean, decent plus minus at 11, but yeah, still they need a little bit more from these guys. And I don't know. I keep harping on Diamande as well, just because some of these guys got the offseason buzz that they could contribute. And every time I see Diamande out there, it's just like he's clearly not ready. But they got to figure it out quick. Like you just need some. I mean, their top four is so good that
Yeah.
you just need guys who can be competent and make open shots. But yeah, we're just not seeing it anytime
You know who they
now.
really could use?
Dallin Hall.
Well, yeah. Tron now, I guess too. But I was thinking like somebody that might be on campus with you right now. Seth Trimble, man. Like Trimble, and I said this, a lot last year. UNC fans didn't like me for saying this, but I thought it was true. I was saying it in a jokingly manner. He was the only adult in the room
Hmm.
a lot last year, and he played within himself, and he let
Mm-hmm.
Elliot Cadeau and RJ and Ian Jackson just kind of chunk up 30 shots as he played defense and dove for loose balls and like actually dove for loose balls, not Elliot Cadeau diving at your ankles where the ball just also happens to be. Um, and like played in, he hit open shots and he would dunk the ball and like every team needs somebody like Seth Trimble.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying that stuff because I mean, obviously he's injured right now, but you will see it when he comes back on a really good team. Seth Trimble looks even better than he does on a bad team. Moo Davis might be in that same category.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of out on the name Moo. Got to
Yeah,
be
maybe,
honest, I loved it this offseason.
but you got it. The thing about Moo, there was one possession in the Holy Cross game where he got to the rim and finished, but he doesn't look quite as athletic as I was expecting. And I
Yeah.
think that's a little bit of a slight concern for me is I don't know. I'm like, you can probably get away with it with uh, I mean, you look at this roster, and I would say both DeBonsa and Keita. Keita's obviously spring loaded and Boop. Those are probably your 3 best athletes. But I mean, Diamande was supposed to be that, but he looks borderline unplayable. I think like Moo's the Moo not being quite as athletic as I feel like he was gassed up to be does scare me
Yeah.
a little bit from a defensive standpoint. Like, I don't get me wrong, if he had been in this game, I think you probably have him checking Christian Bliss or at least throwing more length at him or size at him to sort of knock him off his pivot, and maybe he rallies the guys to close out a little better or to stop getting lost on rotations. Like Delaware had some wide open threes where they just step in and knock him down because like guards couldn't stay in front of their man. They collapse the defense, kick out to the perimeter, and it's cash. I think Moo helps
Yeah.
with that, but yeah, just him. Uh, we kind of forget just because like KY is such a good coach and BYU has such a great culture going on right now, and just the whole way that he's marketed the program as this will prepare you for the next level. I'm running it like an NBA style team. Like I love the mindset. I think it bore itself out that to not just be empty promises in year one, that we tend to just like I would say I trust his eval. I trust his and his staff's eval of the players they bring in. That it's easy to forget that Moo Davis is still moving up a level. Like this isn't the Mo Valley anymore. And I think the Mo Valley plays super slow. There's not a ton of great athletes in that league. It has a pretty high success rate for up transfers, but that's where I think even we're talking about this like needing some a guard stopper in a buy game, like more athleticism at the point of attack in a buy game. Like if he, I don't know, he's missing important time right now because they need to get him just comfortable and adjusted because he's going to be important, like very, very important for this team once conference play starts. And even before then, we talked about it, they got a loaded non-con slate. They're playing UConn on Saturday, and if they don't. I don't know, man. I'm just defensively, I'm concerned about what this team might look like against the Huskies in Boston.
Yeah, they're gonna look bad. So like I'll help you understand that concern.
But but AJ might go off for 35 in his home state,
Yeah. No,
and it might not
they're gonna
matter.
win. I think. Well, it's not the BYU UConn preview. I don't. I think G and Carter are on it. I like BYU in that game. I don't want to like come off that I don't. I just don't think they're gonna look. Like I don't think they're gonna look like world beaters
Hmm.
by any means. I think they're gonna struggle. Um,
But
it's a really good team in UConn, right? Like that's a really good UConn team. Like I think most teams are going to struggle to stop UConn throughout the year.
hmm
And like that again, this isn't me harping on BYU's defense by any means. I think BYU's defense largely has looked better than we expected so far this year. But I just think that a UConn team um, with as much weapons as they have is going to find success against anybody. Specifically, specifically a BYU team that has some defensive concerns as well.
hmm hmm I'm with you in the sense that like I thought their defense was really good in crunch time against Villanova. Obviously, they did what they were supposed to do against Holy Cross. That first half, and I mean, even looking at the game, I mean, Delaware was a 45%, almost 46% from three. This was really the first time where I would say like, yeah, you need that connector type with Moo, and he needs to get acclimated and comfortable and all of that. I think it's just like even though they've had some nice stretches of defense, just coming off of this performance going into the UConn game and UConn looking very much the part right now, Terrace Reed healthy, they're going to need a massive game from AJ and from Richie. Like they got to have their big three scores, and they got to have Kata in there doing all the dirty work, ending possessions on the defensive glass, catching lobs, like because that should be a game that's played in the 90s, all things considered. So I mean, maybe hopefully you get Davis back for that one, and he can be a guy who can contribute to getting a stop late in the game. But yeah, so I mean, I know you said it's not. Did you say you could see them struggling to stop UConn but still winning the game?
Yeah. Well, because I think everybody's going to struggle to stop UConn.
Yeah,
So
that's
like I
fair.
think it's like one of those situations where it's and I hate to bring up UNC like all the time on videos with you, but if you go into Chapel Hill, it's like okay, like we're good if Caleb Wilson gets 20, but we can still get out of here with a win.
Hmm.
And I think that has to be the thought process. That has to be like how you go about it. Is like okay. Yeah, UConn's gonna get after us a little bit. Yeah, they're
Hmm.
gonna, we'll struggle with them at times, but like, how do we get out of here with a win? And
Yeah.
I think they still can.
Yeah, for sure. Well, good to at least have a tune up and to be tested with some adversity. That was, I mean, coming back, I think, yeah, I already mentioned at the top down 10-0, and I think at one point they were down 17-4. But then there's the time in the second half I blinked and BYU was up 23, and I know like their bench warmers didn't finish the job and the margin of victory was a little bit closer than that, but I would still say good to be tested a little bit to have to battle back even in a game where you're favored to win by a lot more. So still positives to take away. Just some concerns on the defensive side that could burn them coming up. And hopefully Moo gets healthy. Hopefully they continue to get sorted out. And yeah, best of luck to BYU. We will be tuned in. We will be previewing and recapping every game. So stay subscribed to Sleepers Media YouTube channel.